Hey everybody, this is Gabo out of catamaranfreedom.com, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the best sized catamaran for ocean sailing and liveaboard. So there are two things there, and I want to give you the short answers first. All the research that I've done, speaking to people and traveling like on other types of boats and stuff, uh, around 40 foot. That's like the best size. Okay, so you want to know why I think so? Let's check it out. So there's a balance between um, the size and the price, basically. Because if you could, go as big as you could, you can have a 60 or 70 foot. There comes with some advantages, but there are also some disadvantages, right? Right, and also there's the price aspect of it. So I would say 40 foot is the perfect balance. Somewhere around 40 foot is going to be perfect balance. So why is that so? Well, you could do it on a 30 foot, right? You could do it on a 26-foot boat. It's been done. It's going to be, it's going to be done more times over the years. But just because someone has done it doesn't mean it's like really a good idea. Because you could sail around the world and you can be lucky. You could be unskilled and lucky. Like it happens to a lot of people to be lucky, unskilled and lucky. Um, but if you end up in bad weather and you're in the crap, size does matter, right? And we're gonna look into why. So I believe that somewhere around the 30-foot line, that's, everything smaller than that, it's going to be shady. It's definitely doable, but it's going to be shady. I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably go bigger. And if I can afford a catamaran that's bigger, monohull it is, I guess. But below that, I think it's a little bit scary. And so why not go above 40? Okay, let's say you have all the money in the world, you could, go above 40. But there's another thing. Unless you're like a big crew with a lot of people on it, sooner or later you're gonna have to single hand this boat. Like you're gonna do it short-handed. Only you be driving this one. And if you want to be able to handle it, in a good way, if it's too big, it's gonna be tough, right? And if it's too big and the winch breaks and you can't really get it up by hand, and it's like you want the right sized boat. And around 40, you're able to sail by your own. It's not too big, and it's not too small to not be able to handle the waves, stuff like that. So okay, we're still around the 40. So another thing with the two small catamarans, if you have the bridge deck clearance, and if you want to know more about that, check out the web page. There's more about bridge deck clearance and how that works. But basically, there's like if you have your two hulls here, you have the waterline here, and then you have the bridge deck here. So this space in between here, that's the bridge deck clearance, and that's where you want like water to pass through, and you want a few as waves as possible to hit up the bridge deck. So because that will make a lot of noise and a lot of slamming and just makes for an uncomfortable ride. So the shorter that is, the noisier and more uncomfortable the ride is. So if you get a wider boat, you can also have higher bridge deck clearance and less noise, less bang. So that's a pretty cool thing. So going below 30, there's going to be a lot of noise. Okay, so why is bigger better in this case? Well, one is speed. Speed is also safety, because if you have the possibility to go faster, you can also navigate around squalls. You can move away from stuff. But if you're slugging around and you're like one of these old guys, it's just painful. They say slow is smooth and smooth is fast, but when it's slow, it's just a slug. Going fast in a catamaran is like super cool, and also it's fun, but it also makes it more safe. You can navigate around whatever you want to get around. Bigger offers a lot more space. If we're talking about the liveaboard stuff, which you're going to be doing that if you're doing ocean crossing, maybe for just a few days or weeks, but more space equals like it's just so nice on the crew. You don't have to like bump into each other. You don't have to be in your face all the time. You can go away into your berth and you can do your thing. So space is a huge thing if you want to stay on a boat like for a little bit longer. And also, speaking of friends and bumping into each other, if you have more room, you can bring more friends. And there's also going to be some economical benefits. We'll see that a little bit later. So if we're looking at what's too small, what's just about right, and what's too big. So the thing is, having a too big catamaran, and we were talking about not being able to handle it on your own. It's also a little bit more difficult since the catamaran, it doesn't heel, right? It doesn't heal over like a regular sailboat. it's also, it needs a little bit more of an experienced captain to understand, when's the tipping point, like when is it gonna flip over. I'm not saying that in any way this happens often, or if it's like it's something that's, it can happen anytime. Not at all. But it doesn't heal in the same way, and doesn't really have the same aspects of sailing as a normal sailboat. So that makes it a little bit more tricky. And bigger means more power to the sails, and means that the shifts can come quicker. So what I've done on my website, which it's kind of hard to discuss over here, but I've put this table where you could see like 30 foot, 40 foot, 45 foot and above, and you could kind of compare to, okay, so if I'm looking at a 30-foot boat, what am I going to gain with that type of boat? Okay, so it's going to be small berths, not a good thing, but it's going to be cheap. That's pretty cool. And then I have like, okay, how much is it? Around blah blah blah. And then I discuss the potential income of that type of boat. And then I go to 40 foot and 45 foot, and then I discuss, okay, so what's typically about this? And the 45 one is, if I go to the other part of the spectrum, it's, you have full height everywhere, so you could stand, like my Sprinter van that I'm in right now. So you could stand up tall, and for most people. And it's going to be way more expensive, of course, but you could stand up tall, and you could stand up tall almost everywhere, right? Because it's such a big boat. You could potentially earn incomes from chartering, Airbnb, paying crews, stuff like that. So yeah, that's some cool stuff. More details on that on the website, catamaranfreedom.com/ something up here. I'll put something up here. Once again, I forgot it. It's the same every time. Okay. What else do we have? Potentially, blah, blah, blah. So I want to discuss a little bit about potential income. So usually people talk about boats as like they just drain you out of money, right? You could do this in a smart way. Like if you have a bigger boat, you have a free spare beds, you can rent it out on Airbnb. It doesn't have to be like, come sail with me. It could just be, you're in the marina, you open up your one berth for Airbnb. It's like a super cool place to be. Like people are gonna love that stuff. I've done it. A lot of other people do it. They stay on a boat, they hang out with the people, and if you make good friends, take them out sailing. If you don't, you're just making money on, they're paying your marina fees. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to talk about today. If you want to know more about the cruising side of it, and like what you will be looking for on a Liveaboard, if you want to check out the data table and figure out what might be the right size boat for you, advantages, disadvantages, and stuff like that, check it out, catamaranfreedom.com/ up here. See ya.